Hey guys, what's up? Wanted to do a quick video in response to my last video. In my last video I did a mid-April 2010 gig, and the reason I did the video was because I wanted to show everybody kind of what my mobile system is going to look like in 2010. I made some lighting changes, I added some stuff, and the problem I'm having is I'd like to add a little more lighting to this new standard mobile system, meaning the mobile system that goes out on every gig without any add-ons. The problem is I've got a big truck. Misunderstanding was here too. My truck is very big, I can put a lot of stuff in it, but I choose to only use a certain area of the truck. Why? Well, the reason I choose to only use a certain amount of space in the truck is because if I use all the space I could use in the truck, I'd have a huge mobile system. My philosophy is my client doesn't need a big giant monstrosity mobile system. My client needs something that sounds good and looks good and isn't obstructive in the room. It isn't, I guess, overwhelming. People spend a lot of money on decorations and things of that nature. We don't need some big monstrosity sitting over here in the corner for the mobile DJ when all is really needed is something that sounds good and looks good with some nice lights. The other reason is, quite frankly, why should I have to carry twice the amount of stuff? You're not really going to get paid more to bring more stuff. I'm big on efficiency, so yeah, again, something that looks good, sounds good, but isn't massive. Can I put more stuff in my truck? Yeah. Do I want to? No. So what I was talking about doing is going with some smaller top cabs. Didn't really feel like I needed the JBL JRX 115s way up in the air, these big 15-inch woofers for mid-bass. It seems a little ridiculous, especially since I'm already lugging around an 18-inch sub. So yeah, my thought was, okay, let's find some speakers that are smaller and sound good, because most of what I want from upstairs is high-end. A good tweeter is what I really want. And the mid-bass, a smaller, like maybe even an 8-inch, a pair of 8-inch, might be fine for mid-bass in mid-range. And a lot of people said, well, hey Bri, if you want to save space, get rid of your amplifiers and get some powered speakers. It's a great thought. But I've got a couple problems with powered speakers. Number one, I'm old school. I don't think that's any secret. I like amps, I trust amps, especially my new ones, my Crown XTI series amplifiers. Via USB cable, I can plug these into a laptop computer with a program called System Architect's Band Manager. I can set limiter points, crossover points, I can do EQ adjustments, all kinds of cool stuff that I don't think I could do with powered speakers. I'd have to have quite a large effects rack to achieve the same stuff that I could pretty much achieve with a computer program. Do presets in the amplifier, away you go. It's also nice because I have two amplifiers. I've got one that is my top cab amp, I've got one that's my sub amp. If my sub amp were to go, or I'm sorry, if my top cab amp were to go, I could switch over to the sub amp and still get through the show. It's almost like a built-in backup for me. Now I understand if one powered speaker goes, you still have another powered speaker. I get that. But I don't trust powered speakers. Here's an example. Corey was cool enough to bring his QSC K12s to the Naughty Pine, K12 rather. And when he first plugged them in and then we turned them up, wow, these sound really good. I'd heard nothing but good things about them, and sure enough, they sounded fantastic. Now, about an hour into it, I heard something. I heard a sound that I'd heard before, previously to putting my system together that I've got right now with the amplifiers and speakers. It's like, ooh. I went back and I checked the mixing boards, making sure we weren't like exceeding 0 dB on any of the level meters, on any of the mixing boards that were back there. We weren't. Unfortunately, the amp was hot and distorting. It wasn't getting ready to stroke yet, I don't think, but it was clipping. It had to have been. It was hot. What are you going to do with that? I mean, what I like is a lot of top end, And I've got, like I said, limiter set in the amplifiers. My amps never come close to clipping, not even kind of close, because they're so overpowered for the speakers that I have. Again, set the limiter points. There's no risk of blowing up speakers if you do that. But there's also no risk of overheating your amps because they're not even coming close to their physical limitation whenever you're running them. I mean, the only time they may get hot is if I was doing an outdoor event and the sun was directly on them. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And I guess the system I have right now with the JBL JRX 115s, the Crown amps, and even the cheap and cheerful Sonic Metro sub, I'm spoiled with it. It sounds really nice for what it is. And yeah, I can crank it up, but I don't want to get to the point where I got to worry about how loud I crank something up because I might get the amps hot. And with powered speakers, I mean, I guess you never know what you're going to get. I would literally have to take a set of powered speakers out on the road for a couple weeks and really put them to the test before I'd be sold on them. Yeah, so I guess that's where I'm at. So what I want to do is I want to get maybe 2 sets of small cabs, 8-inch, 12-inch cabs. I'd like to go 8-inch if I could. Like maybe 2 sets of those. For everyday gigs, for the standard gig, I bring 1 set of the 8 inches for my top end stuff. For bigger gigs, I bring 2, or hell, maybe even 3. I can go ahead and daisy chain them together, run them in the amp, dip the amp down to 4 ohm load, and save money. If I had to go out and buy 2 sets of K12s, that would get pretty pricey, but I could probably get away with buying 2 sets of really good, I don't know, some kind of JBL passive speaker or something, and spend the same amount of money as maybe I would 1 pair of powered JBL or QSC. I don't know. It's just a preference. Now, the only other speaker out there that I've thought that sounds really wicked good and it's powered is the Bose stuff, the Bose stick systems. DJ Advice, Mario has one of those. Sounds wicked good. The only problem I have with those is that you can't really create a hotspot with those. What I mean is, if I am the DJ over here and where you're sitting is where Grandma's sitting, and the dance floor is here. My hotspot should be right here on the dance floor. It's where it's nice and loud and crisp and clear. And as I get closer to you, it should be quieter. So Grandma, because you're Grandma in this case, you can have a conversation with Uncle Bob. With the Bose stick system, you don't get that. The whole room is essentially the same volume. So there's no hotspot and there's no conversation area anymore. So I guess that's the problem I have with them. Great for a musician playing in a, I guess, some kind of coffee shop or something, or even a bigger hall where the people in back hear it just as good as the people in front. But for a DJ who needs, I feel, needs hot spots and, I don't know, cold spots, I don't know what you call them, quiet areas, quiet zones, maybe not a good choice. So, I don't know, that's where I'm at. And that's what I want to do. And just, again, to clarify, the vehicle isn't full of stuff. I've just allocated a certain amount of space. And I'm at the point where I can't put any more in that space. So something's got to give. And you know, I don't want to spend my whole day setting up gear. I want to be able to set up in an hour or less than half an hour. If everything's done in a half hour, perfect. Quick, efficient, sounds great. That's what I want. Anyway, done with this video. If you have any questions, right here. Practice and enjoy.